Let's get into it. Coach Colin here. We have a medical breakthrough. There is somebody who had severe TDS, and apparently it wears off. We have not seen anything like this before, folks. Apparently it wears off. It probably comes back pretty strong, but Bill Maher actually said something pretty common sense for once. Bill Maher has been in the realm of delusion for quite some time. I've made many videos about it. But in this clip with Andrew Cuomo, he actually makes sense. And they're talking about the Trump trial. Now, Andrew Cuomo, although I do not like his brother Chris, and I do not like how he handled things back in 2020, he's even being called disgraced ex-governor. You know what? Even if I don't like someone, I know what they're trying to do when they use that disgraced right away. They're trying to kind of poison the well in terms of how you're going to think about this gentleman right from the jump. But this is what he had to say last year. Then I'm going to play a clip of what he said just recently. Then I'm going to play a clip of Judge Judy talking about Donald Trump and the whole investigation. And then I'm going to play Alvin Bragg himself, because I don't know. Wait till you guys see the clip. I don't know how anybody thinks this is not politically motivated once they read this clip. So he blasts Alvin Bragg's probe of Donald Trump. He says a lot of different things here. I'm just going to go with his quotes. I'm not going to read the whole article, but he says, you have a cynical public. You have a cynical public. They don't believe anyone when they start to see these prosecutors these prosecutors bring political cases. It just affirms everybody's cynicism. That's what he said. He said some more here. Let's go down a little bit. Just make sure you guys can see it. I love this. It's a coincidence that Bragg goes after Trump, and that Tish James goes after Trump, and Georgia goes after Trump. It's all a coincidence. And it's so true. It just all popped up at the same time. You know, if you have a leftist brain, and I don't mean left brain, right brain, I mean a leftist brain, then you just think, well, he's a criminal. That's what happens. You know, things hit the fan when it comes to criminals. He went on to say this feeds the cynicism, and that's the cancer in the body politic right now. In our body politic right now. What does that even mean? The cancer in our body politic right now. I don't know. Whatever. Not the greatest speaker. He says you can indict a ham sandwich. He says this was caused by, guess who? President Biden. He may have had great intents and policy, which he didn't, just so you know. We're talking about Biden. He didn't have either of those things. But he opened the borders without a plan, and with the number of people who were going to come in, this is now an established fact. Then I moved down here a little bit. I remember he said something else. Oh, there you go. Yeah, this last thing he said about New York. And I find this very interesting. New York State is a sanctuary state. Where is the state? Where are the legislative leaders? Why is it New York's problem? Mayor Adams should consider putting people on the bus and sending them to Albany if he doesn't get a response from the state. This is not his problem. The state has to step up. Very interesting that he says that. It kind of reminds me of when Speaker of the House Mike Johnson was saying to Biden that you have the executive power to close the border, and Biden was insisting that he doesn't. And I do not trust Eric Adams whatsoever. So maybe he actually did have some kind of recourse to the immigration crisis that hit New York so hard. And for some reason, and we can go to the most nefarious voters, things of that nature, he decided to just keep all of the people. When I go nefarious, I'm going to go demoralization of the citizens, destabilization of the entire state, people up in arms, chaos. It's just something that the left tends to gravitate towards. If you know anything about Saul Alinsky, I know I bring him up a lot, then you know that that's part of the handbook. Now we're going to move on. That's what Cuomo had to say last year, March. This is what he has to say now, sitting with Bill Maher.
The trial in New York, the one he got convicted for, was the greatest fundraising bonanza ever. He was lagging behind Biden, and now he's pulled quite a bit ahead. That trial was the greatest reason people had to send their checks for 5, 10, 25, whatever dollars to Donald Trump. So I was always with you on the one in New York, the hush money trial. I don't think they should have brought that one. It was just always going to look like a sex case, and people were always just going to look at it that way. So anyway.
That case, the Attorney General's case in New York, frankly, should have never been brought. And if his name was not Donald Trump, and if he wasn't running for president, I'm the former AG in New York, I'm telling you that case would have never been brought. And that's what is offensive to people. And it should be, because if there's anything left, it's belief in the justice system.
The trial in New York.
Very, very true. I mean, people have been saying it. People on the right have been saying it since the beginning. The only reason that this was brought up is because it's Donald Trump. If it was anyone else, they wouldn't even consider it. They might give a slap on the wrist, something of that nature. But because it's Donald Trump, they're trying to throw the entire book at him. Forget the book. They're throwing the entire library at him. And it's not working. It is working because there is sentencing still coming up. A lot of people forget that. We still have sentencing coming up on July 11th, but it's not working in the sense that the people have gotten behind him more than ever. And it's not the far right extremists. It's regular people who just see what's going on. They understand perfectly what's going on and what they're going to do to a man who is an innocent man. You know, whether it's a black guy or a white guy or Donald Trump, when somebody's innocent and this is happening to them in the justice system, it's disgusting. It just is. And that's what makes us look at DAs like Alvin Bragg as people who, you know, I'm not an anti-police person. I'm not an anti, you know, the justice system person. But when you see guys like that and they're doing this type of nasty work, you can't help but to feel it's put against people right from jump, you know? And they thought showing that Donald Trump could even be arrested, they thought, oh, well, this is just going to show, this is going to be so great. But all it showed to everybody was like, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought the system was rigged against us, and it is. Look at that. They even do it to billionaires. So it backfired completely. Now let's hear what Judge Judy has to say about this.
Is that the justice system working, or is it the justice system being manipulated?
I would be happier as someone who owns property in Manhattan if the district attorney of New York County would take care of criminals who are making it impossible for citizens to walk in the streets and use the subway, to use his efforts to keep those people off the street, than to spend $5 million or $10 million of taxpayers' money trying Donald Trump on this nonsense. That's my view. But I, as a taxpayer in this country, resent using the system for your own personal self-aggrandizement. Now, if you didn't know...
And that's what you think the DA did in Manhattan?
That's what I think. I mean, if you look, you had to twist yourself into a pretzel to figure out what the crime was. He doesn't like him. New York City didn't like him for a while.
Trump.
Trump.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
What do I think of him? I think he was a good businessman, a real estate guy, and he was certainly terrific on The Apprentice.
Now, I just want to say, let's just, 100% transparency. This is not the full clip. This is, as much as I like Donald Trump to be put in a good light, she is about to say that she did not like him as the president of the United States, that she didn't think he should have been president of the United States, and that even he thought he was not going to win the election that he won. So just, full transparency there. But it kind of works in favor because this is someone who doesn't like Donald Trump all that much. And she's being very considerate. Great real estate guy, but she didn't like him. She's being honest. And she's saying that, Alvin Bragg had nefarious intentions. And, looking at this clip, I don't know how we don't all understand that that's what's going on. And when I say we all, people on the left and the right, just listen to this. Listen to what he has to say. He's sitting with two people. He's getting interviewed. I'm going to shrink my screen so you can see him a bit more, but let's go.
His office. I know a lot of people are wondering, whoever has this job, Are they going to convict Donald Trump?
Look, that is the number one issue. We know he's investigating. And what I'll say is I was the first to announce against Cy Vance. I too have a lot of issues, which is why I decided to run. I'm the candidate in the race who has the experience with Donald Trump. I was the chief deputy in the Attorney General's office. We sued the Trump administration over 100 times for the Muslim travel ban, for family separation at the border, for shenanigans with the census. So I know how to litigate with him. I also led the team that did the Trump Foundation case. So I'm ready to go wherever the facts take me and to inherit that case. And I think, it'd be hard to argue with the fact that that'd be the most important, most high profile case. And I've seen him up front and seen the lawlessness that he can do.
And you believe it should happen?
I believe we have to hold him accountable. I haven't seen all the facts beyond the public, but I've litigated with him. And so I'm prepared to go where the facts take me once I see them. And you're right, I'm being a little careful because I don't want to prejudge. And then I get into office and the first motion I get from the Trump team is I got to recuse myself because I prejudged the facts. But you're right, there's a lot out there in the public domain that is so troubling. And I say that not just as someone who's watching it, but as someone who's done these kind of cases.
Man, this guy just went and said, this is his number one issue. This is in 2021, as you can see on the screen. Number one issue is Trump. He has sued Trump's administration and Trump 100 times. And we're actually looking at this, some people, like this is not a political thing. This guy is basically the hitman. How do we see this as any different? He's the guy, he's like, I have the most experience. I sue Trump all the time. You put me in the position and I'll sue him again. And then he pulls up this case about these, you didn't write the right thing here. This is clearly a political thing. So Judge Judy was really right to say that about Alvin Bragg. That's how is this even argued? How are we arguing this? In some people's minds, this is just a normal thing. What do you mean? He got into office and Trump's a criminal and he just brought justice upon Donald Trump. That's all it is. Like, are you, what? He's like, I've sued him 100 times. And then when he says, I sued him about the travel ban and families at the border. I sued Trump almost 100 times. And some of the times that I was suing him and his people, it was because he was keeping the border secure. What? He was keeping the border too secure. He was doing things that other nations do and have zero illegal immigration. And I sued him because I wanted that to stop. Hey, man, are you Karl Marx? Hey, did you shave your beard and get a tan? Hey, are you Karl Marx? Are you Lenin? No, I'm kidding. I shouldn't. Don't throw those big names at little people like this. I don't like that. I don't want to do that, but I'm just making a joke here. But it's just very interesting that he actually said this out loud. This is the first time I'm seeing this. This was back in 2021. He gets in position. The first thing he does is go after Trump. And like Cuomo said, it's just a coincidence that these three people just all at the same time just went at Trump, all heavily aligned with the Democratic Party all the way up to the highest position. It's all just coincidence. Come on, man. Absolutely ridiculous. But at least people are waking up to it. Surprising to see Bill Maher actually step up and say, you know what, this is not the trial to use. You know, Bill Maher has gone on rants with Rogan and everybody saying Trump's a criminal. And even for him to be able to see through this case, you know, it's just, it's perfect. And he's like, you know, they're going to see it as a sex case. That's the thing that he said. And people don't even see it as that. They just see it as a political hit job. That's it. And this guy right here is a hitman. He said, I sued him 100 times. More than 100 times. What? Ah, man. And then on top of that, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this already, there was somebody who was working in Biden's cabinet. I can't remember the position. I apologize. But he was working in Biden's cabinet, high up position, decides to take a lower position with Alvin Bragg, under Alvin Bragg, helping prosecute Donald Trump, working for the Biden administration, leaves pay cut, less of a position to work alongside this guy while he sues Donald Trump. I don't get it, man. I don't even and this is the thing. A lot of people get upset when they hear the term banana republic because, you know, you don't want to throw things like that out so frivolously. But the fact that all these things really exist, you have this guy, Alvin Bragg, on tape saying, sued him 100 times. Yeah. I sue him all the time. Get me in office. Yeah, that'll be the number one issue, of course. And then you have someone from the president administration just leave that office and go into a position where he's actually involved in suing Donald Trump. And the timing of it all, because I could understand the guy leaving administration to go somewhere else, but the timing of it all, you leave and then within months you're working on a Trump case? Come on, man. It's ridiculous. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to bring that to you really quick. I'm moving on to the next episode. Please like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Helps the channel tremendously. And other than that, I'm out.